first sign on to Google Analytics, this is what you're going to see. Let's see what this is. So Google Analytics is really awesome because it's free, it's easy to install, and it integrates seamlessly on multiple platforms.
And you can see like in a little screenshot, it's like WordPress is super easy. Oh, one more, go back. No, so like you can see like WordPress is really easy and Tumblr is even easier, as I'm about to explain in this next slide. Next slide. So even like if you're a total noob at HTML, so if you weren't at HTML 101 earlier, like all you need for something like Tumblr or something with a built-in plugin is the UA code that you get when you sign up for Google Analytics. So it's something that's super duper 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 easy to have, and there's really no reason that you shouldn't have Google Analytics because it is so simple. And if you have just a little bit of HTML experience, it's going to be even easier for you to install it because so long as you have access to the back end of your site, which with most WordPress themes or even Tumblr, and even if that theme doesn't have it, all you have to do is be able to go in and insert this lovely little piece of code and you'll have access to all of Google Analytics. So it's that simple, and that's why you should have it, that and everything else we're going to talk about.
So must-know metrics for Google Analytics, there's a few of them. When you first log on to the interface, you'll see them, you'll be able to hover over and you can see the definitions of what each metric is. But here's a few of them on the screen. The visits is a series of page views that a single person comes when they see your site. Page views is pages per visit, or the average page depth. Average visit duration is the average time that someone has spent on your site, and the percentage of new visits. And the bounce rate, which is when someone comes to your site and they land on a page and they leave the site directly from that page, that goes towards your bounce rate. So what you want to do, the main goal of the bounce rate is to be as low as possible. Because you don't want people to bounce off the site, you want them to stay.
It lets you know when like people come to your site and they never wanted to be there in the first place, and it makes you sad on the inside as well. Some other dimensions that are really important to know. These are things that when you're in the back end, and we can bring this up later, like on the computer, but we're here now, and the computer's all over there. But these are the ways that you can kind of view and sort some of that data that you're going to see. So you can see where the source is of these people who are coming to your site. So whether it's going to be organic, which is unpaid search traffic, usually through Google or Bing search or x.com. The CPC or cost per click is going to be your paid search. So say if you were playing around with AdWords, that would come in through there. Referrals are anything that usually, like for bloggers, usually it's going to be social media. So you can just pull that type of information only and see, okay, what are all of my referrals coming from? What are those visitors like? And then of course email. So if you happen to be doing email, which is like something I think as a blogger you kind of like might forget about, but it's something that's usually built in, so it's pretty easy to track that kind of data as well for some themes. And then none. So like direct visits are, say somebody like copy and pasted a link, your grandmother like literally typed in the entire URL, those are going to be your direct visits. And they just have a medium of none, so they're kind of like a bummer because you don't know exactly where they come from sometimes. Some of the other terms is, of course, like your keywords. So that we're going to talk about a little bit later. Like they're not giving us all the keyword data in Google Analytics anymore, which stinks. So you used to be able to see all those keywords that came through. And then the landing page is the actual landing page when somebody came onto your site. Did they come on to your homepage? Was it the blog? Was it your About Us page? So that's the landing page, and that's what that means. And then, of course, the location, which is the super creepy fun part where you can see where those visitors are from. So you can actually like apply that as a dimension on other areas of analytics. So all of these dimensions, like wherever you are, you can pull that dimension and say, all right, I want to see only people from Pennsylvania. I want to see only people from the United States. Or I really only do want to see everyone from Canada, and am I getting like a lot of weird international visitors?
So the next slide slide talks about paid or organic keywords. Paid keywords are obviously keywords that you're paying money for. They come from PPC and CSE, pay-per-click traffic, and consumer shopping engines like Bing Shopping, Google Shopping, the Find, things like that. Organic traffic is traffic that you do not pay for. It comes from organic search results. When you look at Google and you search for a keyword, and instead of clicking on one of the ads or one of the CSE ads on the side, you click on the 10 results in Google in the first, well, on the first page or the next page. Those are the organic results.
So this slide is particularly important because it explains when you sign up for Google Analytics, what you sign up for is an account. So it's pretty specific in that it's going to be like, I have my Whiskey Bacon account, or Gussie would have her Ruth Whispell account, and I have like maybe my Eleni Konstas account. And then the next level is that you create a property when you're making your account, and that's going to be perhaps your URL.com, or maybe you're going to also want to track data for your mobile site, so your m.whiskeybacon.com or your whiskeybacon.tumblr.com. So those are all actual properties within your one analytics login. So you can pull those data for each of those URLs into the same account. And then the final level that you build in analytics to kind of view your data and track data is going to be a view or profile. They used to be called profiles, and a few weeks ago they changed that. And that's going to change the way that you like pull in that data. So Google always says like have one view that's just all of your data, and then you want to make some with like filters on them, which is a little more advanced, but it's always handy to make a filter that like excludes your own IP address, so you're not seeing your own traffic. You can create a filter to just see like, we have here like, just all the PA visits, so maybe you just always want to pull in data from Pennsylvania. Just always easily be able to see what's happening there. So you can create like a lot of like unlimited different types of profiles, which we'll talk about a little later.
So for this slide, we're going to pull it up on, never mind, we're going to pull it up. So date ranges, the one thing about Google Analytics that's really great, because on a lot of analytical platforms like Twitter Analytics and Facebook Analytics, you can see date ranges, but it's not the same. Like with Google Analytics, you can compare day to day, you can compare month to month, you can compare year to year. So if you want to see if someone is, how many people are visiting your site on a certain day, like how many people are reading on Christmas, you can log in and look at this Christmas and last Christmas and see that. And she's going to bring it up and show you how to do that.
Actually, do you want to go to the next slide?
Yeah, why not?
That's a really handy one in the slide as well, actually. This approach, like, it's really, there's a lot of things in analytics, but you want to be able to see it as you're looking at it and referencing it.
Last year they had the computer with us and you were able to bring things up on the computer.
So you can see here, like, that top one, that's the account with the UA code and everything. And then those are all, like, the profiles within that, so. And there's all
Oh, thank you.
So, do you want to talk, there's the date range. So there's the calendar that Gussie was talking about, and just the way that you can use it. So the custom means that you can choose any date range, but it's really, really fun to look at it for an entire year at a time, because as a blogger, you might be like, why did nobody come to my site last month? And oh, this is the unfiltered, so let me pull up one that has a year's worth of data. Is my blog drunk? Yeah. So you can see that, all right, here it is like week by week, and it's really handy because then you can compare that data. And see, okay, last year was my blog getting a lot of traffic. So like there are a lot of seasonal ups and downs. Like nobody's gonna be on their computer, on the day of Christmas, but in all the weeks leading up to it because they're looking up recipes and things to do with arts and crafts, yeah. But okay, what was our next one? That was okay. I'm sorry, I'm a Mac user. This is really hard. Alright, so this is the content area, and that's really kind of basic because, like, what is your blog other than content? So you always want to, like, pay attention to just overall, like, what pages are getting traffic, you know, what's happening there, how many unique page views, and like we said, you know, there's the average time. Site speed is something that a lot of people might overlook because you can actually see how fast your page is loading and your server response time, because, you know, you want people to be able to get onto your site and, like, see everything and not immediately be like, oh, it's taking forever to load, taking forever to load. Somebody once told us that and we didn't even know, and I should have, like, looked in Google Analytics and been able to say, oh, our server response time is, you know, decreasing. Obviously, our images are too huge, and, like, you can just kind of see those types of things. Like, the internet average for just page load period is about 90 seconds, I think. But that's, like, across the entire internet. So there's a plugin that's really handy. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a really, really, really handy plugin that will rate your site, and you can click it every time for, like, all of your pages. Something SEO. But it'll actually, like, give you a little star every time because it changes, like, depending on each of your pages sometimes. So then, of course, if you use site search, like, say people go to your site a lot, that's a really valuable area, but nobody uses ours. And then AdSense, so this is really cool, like, when you're looking to monetize your blog, all right, which pages are people on when they're, like, actually clicking an ad, like, what's actually making you money? So that's really cool if you sync the two. And then in-page analytics is perhaps one of my favorite, like, things, because you can see percentage-wise where people are clicking, and it really proves that whole above the fold thing where people are like, you know, people won't scroll down, and you can literally see, all right, how many people are scrolling down. So. But it's a quirky area. You can see, like, it's taking forever to load, so it's frustrating. So. But that's it.
We have to go back to the social part. I can click it. Sure. So the social area is my favorite part, just because I like social media a lot. But in this, you can see everything from how many visitors you have on Twitter visiting a certain page. You can see conversions if you're an e-commerce site. You can see how many people are purchasing things when they come from Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, even Reddit, Tumblr. And it shows you everything. Go back up, please. No, down. Oh, no, never mind. So if you click on network referrals, you can see how many referrals you're getting from each network. You can see the visits, page views, average duration, and the pages per visit. Go to landing pages, please. So the landing pages will show you where those pages are landing. So when someone clicks on a Facebook post and it was easy bacon pesto recipe, that's the page that landed on it. So 645 people landed on that page between that date range. So then click on trackbacks. So trackbacks show, we got really excited about this the other day. So trackbacks show you which pages are linking to your blog. So this is really good because you can see if someone, the example we found was someone had taken a recipe from Whiskey Bacon and altered it and made it their own. So you can see things like that. It's helpful. I mean, I guess it's helpful if people are stealing your stuff, but crediting you with it.
It's not entirely accurate. Like, so if you have webmaster tools, which is a more advanced part of analytics,
that'll usually give you the whole, like, list of links. But this is actually pretty handy in, like, spotting some. And if you're not going to log into webmaster tools and export every day, you can at least, like, see, oh, this person linked to me. That's weird. And then also, go back to trackbacks.
So how did you, I see that did that website credit you somewhere that you were able to share?
Yeah, at the bottom. bottom, it said likely adapted.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you go back to GA, it'll show you over there where it says visits, it'll show you how many people had clicked on that link to get to your blog from that other blog. Yeah, there's BlogCon. So in conversions, if you're an e-commerce site, that's helpful, but I mean, we're obviously not e-commerce. Plugins, so if you have plugins and visitor flow, I don't think visitor flow, just because it's ugly.
Is there an analytic to show what times of day you get the best hits, or the times of day that people typically visit your site?
I found it once and I don't know where it is. And I was trying to look for it again. I know there's a plugin, and actually at the end there's this new solution suite we're going to talk about that it actually has a lot of nice ways to pull that information, so it has to be out there somewhere. And we may have it on the site, I just can't find it again. No. No. But I think, I'll get back to this at the end. I think we do have that perhaps still on the site. All of analytics, yeah, a lot of this has changed in the past 2 weeks or so. Like this whole thing here, like you can add segments and everything. We're gonna talk about like they changed the way it looks, so I can't find some things. It's like when I clean. So actually, next up, we're almost gonna be on. We'll get to that soon. I'm sorry. Is location drill down. So I love this because it's super creepy. So you can see where your visitors are, and it makes you feel good too because you know that it's not just like your mom reading your blog. Because like, look at how many people in California are there. And then you can drill down and see the actual cities and even counties. So it's super creepy and super awesome. And you're up next.
So organic, where do we go with that? Oh, okay. Yeah, I was waiting for you to get it. So the organic traffic, you used to be able to see all of the keywords that you would get from organic traffic, and you could see some. Actually, the other day when we looked at it, we could see like none. I mean, they were there, but it said that there was like no visits. Just go back down. So you used to be able to see all the organic traffic from keywords you were getting, and that was basically what keywords people were using to get to your site. But now, in order to see that, you have to go to, yeah, first you,
We were going to talk a lot more about the keywords and how valuable it is to pull blog ideas for campaigns.
So we were going to talk a little bit more about the keywords and how valuable it is to pull like blog post ideas, because you could see things like that would have driven traffic to your site that wasn't necessarily something you ever wrote about, which is always fun. So actually, just to kind of like make this a little easier, because the date range is kind of throwing everything off. If you look at the very bottom of your list, you know, you would get all these things like buttered muffins, and you'd be like, oh, maybe I can write, that's a different one, actually, I would never write one. These are such weird things. But like, you find these weird things that come up, and even that, like, I've seen some really great blog posts on the Blogus, if anyone's familiar with her. The only other person in the room who knows what I'm talking about. Thank you. Right. But she does like these things, and she'll pull like the weirdest terms that send traffic to her site. So it's really fun in that way. Like you could even come up with blog post ideas about like what's driving traffic, or what keywords are sending people to your site. Or you could pull things and be like, okay, do I want to make a whole post about appetizers with bacon or Amish bacon, or maybe even like Bacon America. Yes. Or bacon and egg cupcakes. Never have we had anything on the site about that or have those words there. So that's like an idea of something to do. So it's really cool to use those keywords. However, this used to be all in organic keywords, and it isn't anymore because about a week ago, Google took it away. because of secure searches. So now we pull this information from Webmaster Tools and by syncing the two of them, and we weren't really prepared to talk about that today because it is more of an advanced thing, and it is a whole other step to just get that other code on there, but it is another way to get keywords, which is pretty handy.
Can I ask a question? Are these keywords are these tags that you use in your posts, or these are words that people type in the search and your website comes out of the search?
Yeah, so that's when, if not everyone can hear you, that was when people go to a search engine and they type those words into a search engine, or even like Bing or any search engine, those keywords that sent that person to your site are what come through as either your organic search or as your Webmaster Tools query. So that's what is now available is Webmaster Tools queries, and organic search is what used to be available.
A lot of times they're links in your post, like if you write something about America, which unless Dan did something, then if somebody types in Bacon America, they'll come to the site through that, or if somebody clicks on that, as long as you're linking it in anchor text, that's a keyword too. I mean, they're basically any keywords that people use in a search engine to get to your site. So they could be the tags, they could be the keywords that are linked as anchor text, they could be something that has to do with the title, they could be just words in the blog post.
What's anchor text?
Tricky. Here, you can answer.
I know you know what that is.
Well, just for the people that don't know.
Anchor text is when you highlight it and you add a link into the text, like a hyperlink, that you can click on and take you to another place.
Thanks.
It's the blue link. It's not, it gets really loud. Custom dashboards are another really valuable way to like kind of view data and see probably the hours thing. I think we have one in here. So if you go to My Stuff, you can get these dashboards, and at the end of the presentation, and actually right now, because when we're making the presentation, we realized one of the newest rollouts is that finding the things to make dashboards has become even easier. Not that one, sorry. So it's right here now. There's this thing that says import from gallery, and this is this new analytics solutions gallery where you can like search for like things to add to like view things better. And I wonder like if we type hour in there. Mobile metrics by hour segment. So like if you added this bundle to your analytics profile, you would be able to see the mobile visitors by hour segment. And there's probably got to be something else that won't just give you mobile visitors, but this is one that like Google has endorsed in there. So these are like dashboards that we have, and they're really handy because you can see things like just your visitors from social media. Here is something similar to like hours, but like this is the day of the week, so if you wanted to look and see which day of the week is best to post. I don't see why I can't scroll over. Let me just zoom over. There we go. So you can see that like the fourth day of the week probably had the most visits from social media. We haven't been posting a lot with that bloggers, so there's no good data here. But yeah, so like it's pretty handy that you can like see specific data, and then this is like a social media dashboard. Then there's a basic blog one, so you can see your most popular pages if you're getting RSS subscriptions. So they're really handy in being able to see like just the data that you want to see, not having to dig down all the time and like find it and spend too much time diving into the rabbit hole of analytics.
So real-time is a fairly new part of GA, and it shows you all of the action in real time. So if we went on to Whiskey Bacon now, which I think we are, aren't we? Will you refresh it, please? Well, it shows up, and like if you just clicked on it now, it would show up in the little. See, so now there's one visitor, and you can see it in real time. So, I mean, especially we see this a lot with e-commerce sites that are big, that you'll see like there's a lot of people on at one time. You can also see conversions, you can see where these people are from locations, you can see the pages that they're linking from, the pages they're linking to. You can see people if they're linking from Facebook, Twitter. This is really good if you're having a live chat, a webinar, anything like that. You can monitor how many people are on the site during that, and how many people are coming to the site from things like that. These are just some links that we wanted to include. The Analytics Solutions Gallery that has all of the, is that the one with the dashboards? Yeah, that's the dashboards, and that's the Google Analytics blog, their Twitter, and is that Google Plus? And Google Plus.
So now we're open to questions, insults, comments, and yeah. None? Oh,
He has his hand up.
So, could you just talk a little bit more about why Google decided to change the keyword?
It was because of stuff.
It's an encryption thing, so about 2 years ago, right, they said initially they were going to start encrypting searches, and starting then it was for people who were using secure browsing, so HTTPS, too many T's. But those searches were the ones that were encrypted, so like people were seeing more and more that it's that not provided keyword, and then all of a sudden they just apparently without announcing it decided that it's going to be everyone. All the searches. So that list of keywords that we had, it used to be like around 800 sending organic a month, and when we looked at it for the past 2 days, it was like 5 keywords, because all the rest were not provided.
Any other questions? What's up,
Yeah,
Joe?
Hi, Lois.
Hello. If you know nothing about Google Analytics, where is the best place to start?
I'll pull it up.
Okay.
She's really excited right now.
Alright, so the link right here that takes you to googleanalytics.com, they made it super easy with the new rollout. Yeah. So now the site is like super kind of like easy to get started on it. But the very best thing is to like just get an account.
It's the easiest thing is to start an account. So like when you start a new account, see, I told you they moved everything. There was a button. If you're going to like make a new site, there we go. So like when you're creating your new account, it's pretty simplistic. And then every single time you're on any page, Google Analytics is super helpful in that when you click the help button, usually it'll pull the topic of the page that you're on that particular time, and you can type in anything here. And their help resources section is seriously like the handiest thing. Now, if you wanted to like actively learn without just playing in analytics, because I would always suggest like playing in it first, like getting your hands dirty is the easiest way to do anything with analytics, but they just launched, it was as of like 2 days ago I saw it, they're doing a new training session.
There was a thing, there was that little,
Is it
little
here?
hat.
A hat? No, not that, no. That test thing that I got angry about. So, Gussie and I got analytics certified a couple weeks ago, and there was no actual testing materials for it, like no training materials, it was just use the help center. 2 days ago, they sent out an email saying that they're starting a help center, and I can post a link to it on my Twitter, which will be Eleni Konstas. But the learning training test center, or whatever it's going to be, it has about 8 modules of a course, and there's going to be a test at the end, and it starts on October 8th. So I would really suggest that, because every single thing else that I've like signed up for with them in their test centers are pretty simplistic and easy to follow.
So I call it Google Analytics Academy Solution Analytics.
Yes, yeah, that sounds right. They rolled out a lot of new products in the past week, so I'm getting a little confused. There's a partners program now too. And it is really handy, but like following their blog, they'll always like post things in their Google Plus page. Like, I'm a huge advocate of Google Plus because I think it's really nice and clean and easy to use. And like even when we were showing like the trackbacks, like the one day we realized that like people were sharing our links more often on Google Plus than they were anywhere else. And we're like, oh, so I guess it is kind of popular. Or maybe just with foodies. So that like there as well, like people are always posting tips, and if you follow all of like the Google Plus like circles and stuff, or anything Google related, they're always posting like little tidbits on like how to use this, and oh, did you know that you can view your mobile metrics? Like, it's really cool. Handy.
What's up, Jeff?
One of the things that I always hear when people talk about data is that data without action is just numbers. So what would you say is your best tip for taking the insights that you get from Google Analytics and doing something actionable with your website as a result?
All right, well, do you want this one? Because your data is pretty, especially with keywords. Well, I mean, it's a difficult question because there's so many things that you could do with the data. I mean, keywords, you can implement them on your site. Like we said before, if you have keywords that you find that you're not writing posts about, but people are still coming to your site, you can write a blog post about those keywords, or with those keywords, or about that topic. If you see that you're getting a certain amount of social media traffic from a social media site that you're not as active on as others, then you can start being more active on it and obviously getting a ton more traffic from it. I'm trying to think of more ways, but there's many different ways you can use the data to help improve your site. Oh, and browsers. You can also find out which browsers people are using more often. And, I mean, where'd you go? Go back to the other. So if you look there too, you can see behavior, you can see demographics. I mean, if you want to write for a certain demographic, you can write for a certain demographic. You can target demographics, you can target age, you can target different locations. That's the word I wanted. So like more on Jeff's question, so like if you're looking at this, like I pulled the date range. I always find it valuable to like look at comparing date ranges and percentages because Google makes it super easy to be like, okay, my visits are down, but my pages visits are up, and my average visit duration, and then that bounce rate we were talking about. So bounce rate is something that it's a huge no-no if it's going up. So an actionable thing here would be to look at it and go, okay, like the bounce rate on Chrome is going down. So that means that obviously people on Chrome are having a good experience on the site. But, you know, if you're like me, when you first started the blog and you're like, I'm going to just use the WordPress template and theme, everything's going to be fine, you might realize that, okay, people in Safari in-app are having a higher bounce rate. So that means that there might be a problem with the way your blog is displaying in Safari. So you might want to like ask a friend or somebody and be like, oh, hey, can you display this? Or there are some different tools for viewing your browser in other, or viewing your site in other browsers. So an actionable thing there is to figure out whether your site's having like issues and trouble displaying, can you fix its performance? You know, the mobile is really important these days because, I mean, like who isn't on a mobile device? So you can see like, you know, is my site displaying mobily very well for every single device? And Google's made it really cute now that you can actually like be like, oh, I don't remember what a Kindle looks like. Now I do. So if you know your friend has one of those, be like, bring up my site real quick. I want to see if I can read it and do my blog post show up right, and are the thumbnails the right size? So does that answer your question? Okay, cool, thank you. Any other questions?
Well, WordPress has certain tools available. Obviously, this would just be to drill down a whole lot more and figure out where people are coming from. So where was it again that you find, you sign up for Google Analytics and get that UA code, and then you embed that in your posts?
Yeah, we can actually walk through that right now because I wasn't sure if we had enough time, but so like right now, like if you're going to create a new account, this is exactly what you usually see after you like have, as long as you have a Google login, you have to have a Google, they call it a Google like property account or whatever. There's the new universal analytics. It says it's in beta, but it's never failed me in the past year. So I always choose that option, and then you set up an account. So like for this account name, we'll call it like, yeah, that worked out very well. I just tried to Alt-C that because of my Mac problems. So you go and you create your new account, and this is like, you know, with real time, this is why you probably pick the correct time zone, but I'm just gonna skim through that. I like sharing my data with Google because we get like, you can get like weird emails now sometimes, and it'll tell you like stuff about your site, and it's been different every time, so I haven't figured out why or what it's about. That's also newest terms of agreement. I haven't seen that in a while. So when you create it then, here's your tracking code. And this is what you would then copy and paste into the back end of your site. It's right there, it's easy. And then if you were using like, say a Tumblr blog, or if you had like one of those WordPress type plugins for SEO, you would probably just then copy and paste your tracking ID number. And that's as simple as it is. In here then, in your admin, you can see where you're linking. So you've got your account, and you want to say like, okay, do I want to share this data with other users? And you can do that, like, you know, send it to your other co-writers maybe. If you're going to link this to AdWords or especially AdSense. It's like my new favorite thing. I'm like, did I make 50 cents today? And then different filters. And it's not in here, so I'm surprised that they didn't. I was really hoping they would migrate it here, but when you link to Webmaster Tools, so I'm just going to go over that really quickly because it's so handy with all of its keywords. They didn't make this simple, which I'm kind of disappointed in. If it wasn't linked, it would be here. So like right now, if I go to that test, what's really cool is also, so when I click this, you stay on that same area of Google Analytics no matter what other like profile you switch to. So if you're like, I'm going to switch from like my PA profile to my Denmark one, you would still have that same like time area and everything, time range and everything opened up. But so this is where you would like set up your Webmaster Tools data sharing, and it's literally that button there, and it brings you to here. Probably see that? I wish this was here we go. So then the very bottom, you can connect to your Webmaster Tools account. So you have to set that up separately, and it generates another piece of code, and you have to add that code as well to your site. But then you'll have keywords again, which is cool. And you can see like user and then you can see like this is Webmaster Tools, and it has all these other areas which are a little more complex, like search appearance. So you can see stuff about like structured data, like if you have, Google knows what type of data you're posting, like whether it's a blog post or a recipe or comments due to like markup and rich text. And then this is the search traffic and the search queries that are still here for whatever reason that they're not secure enabling this. But it's really interesting because you can see what the query was that somebody typed into the browser to send traffic, how many impressions it had. So the impressions are how many times that search query popped up and your site came up for that query. So how many eyes are on it, and then how many times people actually clicked on it. And then it gives you a percentage of the ratio of people clicking on it to the people who saw it. And then the average position, which is a little like here and or there sometimes with actual accuracy, but it's a little interesting just to see that the average position of those people seeing it, this is where they saw you on the site, or on their search results page. You know, where were you on that 1 to 10 range? It's a little different, which stinks, but you can also see like links to your site. So you can also see like who is linking to you, which content is linked most often, and how it's linked. So there's a lot of really cool stuff in here, but it's a little more detailed and in-depth and not as easy on the eyes as analytics.
Back to the Google Analytics in the beginning, when you were showing the properties, like your mobile, investigation.com. How do you do that again? I think I know, but.
How do you do it?
Yeah, how do you have your different properties to like the one, like I have two different accounts, not two different accounts, two different websites, I have them separate, but how would you add like the mobile to each of those?
Wait, you have 2 websites and 1 account.
One.
And they're completely different websites.
Yes.
She wants to know how to track mobile traffic.
Well, no, like track mobile traffic.
You
on
added
every
that as
site, so-
like a profile?
Mhm. Well, no, that would be
Property,
a
I'm
property.
sorry.
Yeah, so like the account is, when I sign up for the account is all of my sites. So what you would have to do is it would have a separate UA code because otherwise it's going to track the 2 of them like similarly.
So you would add, almost like you would add another site, right?
Yeah, in this case, with the mobile site,
Okay.
which,
I thought it was part of.
well, it's not, it's added like, actually, I know, I make a lot of silly test sites because I'm like, I think I'm going to do things with blogs and I don't. No, so you would create a new property like right here. They did order this out properly. So if you're in your one account when you're logged in,
Okay.
then it would be like, you know, those are my sites, and then you click, and then you create a new property, and it would create it under that same account. But it's gonna get a different UA code just so that way Google knows that it's that site. You could put the same UA code on multiple different sites, but then you'd have to like set up filters to filter all of the data out,
Okay.
and it creates a mess.
Okay.